closer to me. It's like you just keep matriculating.
PLTW Summit, right? In San
Yeah,
Diego.
where's the school song, Courtney? You trying to put them to sleep? Yeah. Where's the viewing? Luke's getting ready to preach a eulogy. Okay, he was a great guy. At least some people thought so. The rest of them didn't. Yeah. You're right. I think we're all safe to say on that. Where's my pen? You tried to steal it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I gave you a pen. Hey, Matt. Having you right here by me for a year now.
I love this.
You're near me for a year and you can debate. Jackie did the same thing.
Yes.
This is a nice scene.
Something to say.
We need.
It's, Courtney picked this one. That's what sold it for you? Okay.
Okay, all right. Welcome. And before we begin our regular session, we are going to conduct our Board of Finance meeting. So on behalf of the school board, we thank you for being here in person or virtually. I'm Heather Staggs, president of the school board. To my left is Luke Jackson, vice president, Dan Conway, secretary, Jackie Deckard, member, and Matt Hankins, member. To my right is Superintendent Eric Bolin and Assistant Superintendent Susie Lips. So Eric, you can take over now.
Okay, I think we want to
Oh,
start.
we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Yep. Let's do our Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Now, Mr. Bolin.
Okay, now we do this every January. It's time to appoint board officers as finance officers, and historically, we have done it with the same positions that we have as elected officials for the board. So I would recommend that we appoint accordingly, president, vice president, and secretary for the board of finance officers.
All right, do I have any discussion?
No, but Heather, I'll make a motion to
All
go ahead
right.
and appoint the board officers as the finance officers.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Motion carries.
The last thing in the finance meeting that we're holding, talking about the depositories, just so the public knows and the board knows, we stay local as much as possible. So our depositories, we have BMO Harris holds our payroll. We have BMO Harris money market account. We have Citizens Bank, which is food service, preschool, bond account, and scholarship. We have Home Bank, which is accounts payable. And we also have a home bank money market account. We have the Community Foundation in Morgan County, which we have some endowed scholarships that are held there. And BMO Harris, we have an ECA account there, which is separate from the account for the corporation. So those are the banks that we utilize. And then we have CDs at each one of these. And the CDs all mature either in 2025 or 2026. So if there are any questions you have, open it up. Otherwise, that's the report.
Anyone? All right. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. So now we're going to move on to our first regular session of 2025. And on a personal note, I've attended about 80% of school board meetings in the past 20 years. I did some quick math earlier. So it is my absolute privilege and honor to be the 2025 school board president. So thank you. And moving on from that, we have our consent agenda. Let me get to that. Or Courtney, do we have any public comments? Yes. Oh, we do, okay. For agenda items? Yep. Okay. Agenda item G6. Okay, so that is electric buses. Okay, and who is that? Okay, Mr. Murray?
My name is Mark Murray. I was just looking over the agenda items here before I came and seen the electric buses thing. I noticed the proposal was for 4 buses, 2 chargers. I noticed it does come with a nice program rebate of $280,000. And then a credit from the IRS for $40,000. But the overall package was $612,916 for electric vehicles. I know, not saying that's a bad thing. Electric vehicles have come a long way. They're continuing to come a long way. But if we're doing it just for the kickbacks, I mean, and everything, it kind of raises some red flags, questions, because there is still a lot of problems with electric vehicles, including explosions from batteries and stuff like that. So my concern there is, does that put our kids in safety risk and everything if these are, if that becomes a problem or something? We're hearing about it with cars, not so much buses and the bigger vehicles so far, but I kind of had some concerns there. I know everyone wants to test them, find out if they're doing good, especially when you're getting nice government kickbacks. But I also noticed on the specs for this particular company that the low end of the temperature rating is -22. Tuesday, it's supposed to be in the -20s as far as wind chill. That would be a factor there, where the bus probably ain't going to run real well. I don't know what these are to be used for, but that may be consideration and everything that you may want to take. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Okay, we will move on to our consent agenda. And that includes the December 19th regular session minutes, January 7th executive session minutes, January 7th special session minutes, payroll claims, payroll report, which includes check claims, the personnel report. So do I have any discussion on those items? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. There's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we're going to move on to student field trips and professional travel. Mr. Boland.
Okay, the only professional travel we have a team that will be going to the Skyward Icon Conference. Thanks to Ms. Deckard for recommending that. We're going to Skyward Cumulative. That's a transition we're making as a district. We've made a couple of transitions over the last couple of years to get everything in the cloud, so to speak, and have more security, that type of thing. So we're going to Skyward Cumulative. We're taking our team down there for the training to make sure that we're ready to go and hit the ground running. And this conference was recommended by some good people to our neighbors to the north. That was nice, wasn't it?
That was nice.
Nice way to say it. And
We
so,
don't usually say that about Mopai.
but we will on
But we
this
will.
occasion. Yes. So this is going to be in St. Pete, if I'm not mistaken, in Florida.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully it's a little warmer down there for all of them. So I recommend approval of this conference.
All right. Do I have any discussion?
Nope.
And if not, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Heather, to approve the field trips and professional travel to the Skyward Icon.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Sharon Gooden, the district STEM co-coordinator, and Aaron Wolf, the STEM teacher at South Elementary. Both Sharon and Aaron participated in the PLTW Summit in San Diego earlier this year. They are here this evening to share and report on their experience. Please welcome them.
All right. I really don't like microphones because I really don't need a microphone, but I'll use it anyway. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for allowing us to go. This was a phenomenal summit. It was fantastic. I'm privileged to go to the summits that have been in Indianapolis in the past, but this being in San Diego was one, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. But it really got everything moving again. Like, we kind of get, the summit happens every 2 years, and you kind of get into a lull as everything goes on, especially, but this kind of sparked our interest again. As you can see, the pictures, we had fun. We got to play around a little bit, but we got to hear some great speakers. One thing, can you go back to that last slide real fast? I'm sorry. One thing that I really loved, I've been a fourth grade teacher for several years, and William, I never can say his last name right. Kamba? I can't say it right. Anyway, he is the boy who harvested the wind, and our PLTW module goes with that. So I get to teach that out at the STEM lab all the time with the fourth graders that come out with us. And it's really kind of cool to get to hear him speak, because I've seen, Ed Talks with him, and I've seen, and I've read his book, and it's fantastic to actually get to see and hear from him. So that was kind of a really cool takeaway from me. And I know that she had one from hers.
We were in there for Emily Candanelli, and she was fantastic. She's basically a YouTuber, has a science show that she does, and she spoke to us about girls in coding, girls in science, and really pushing that agenda, a little bit more so, and being more encouraging.
Okay, Courtney. Thanks. So the PLTW Summit, it is for Core, Gateway, and Launch. Core is the high school, Gateway is the middle school, and Launch is elementary. Of course, both of us are elementary teachers, so we focused on elementary a lot, but it was really kind of nice to see how the Core is bringing the fact that we do robotics here, K through 12, huge hit at the summit. It was really kind of cool. You're welcome for viewing. But there were grants available. And the really wonderful thing is networking with everybody there. We found out that we were eligible for a grant that Shannon, the other coordinator, and I both thought we weren't eligible for. And networking, we were able to get $5,000 grant awarded to us from PLTW for all the elementary schools so far and the pre-K. So that's quite a bit of money that we have for new materials that we are going to be able to get through that. We haven't heard back from the middle school or the core yet, but we've applied for those also. The other thing is the gateway. They were talking about how all of the gateway modules are really great, and we have some great gateway modules, but I kind of am excited that we also not only have the Project Lead the Way, but we have that Paxton Patterson one that is that career and college readiness lab. I don't know if you guys have been over there to see it, but it really brings that STEM into the district. And it is so much fun. I just want to go over there and play over there. But, and to see how they really interact with, taking blood and all of that fun stuff. But what Erin and I are going to be talking about is the launch. We had a lot of takeaways that we were able to implement right away. The one thing that I want to talk about are the exit tickets. So in our district for computer science teachers, we don't have them as teachers, they're aides, and it's or paraprofessionals. It's kind of hard to get a paraprofessional to understand that computer science is now a tested subject, and we really have to hit those standards really, really hard. So Erin and I spent quite a few hours coming up with lesson plans, so they didn't have to, coming up with a very, very user-friendly way to teach the module that PLTW offers us. But it was really nice to see from other districts or from other schools around the United States that we're kind of like setting the pace, and we're kind of one step ahead and wait through. But one thing that we did take away was the exit tickets, where we now can see what the feedback is from the students if they're really getting it, and it's kind of neat to see. And the starting at the we implemented it. We came up with the exit tickets. It's just a Google form, just a few questions, and we're slowly rolling it out to get the computer science instructors to agree with it.
My big takeaway from the summit was the ethical thinking in elementary students. I'm teaching mostly computer science and a little bit of communications there with it, and I just want to highlight some of the importance of ethical reasoning and mindset in our students. It's a focus that's central to PLTW launch modules. And these modules not only teach critical thinking and problem solving, but they also help students make decisions grounded in integrity, fairness, and empathy. In PLTW, students are encouraged to evaluate options and consider the impact of their decisions on others. Through scaffolded activities and discussions, they learn in elementary school to collaborate, listen, and communicate respectfully, building the foundation for ethical behavior. And it can help them develop empathy, integrity, and fairness, which are values that are, of course, essential in the classroom and then beyond. Sharon and I have worked intentionally to model these behaviors for our students, and we recognize and celebrate moments when students demonstrate that ethical thinking. By using tools like PLTW's What If scenarios, we provide students with opportunities to engage in ethical discussions and develop a mindset that will serve them well in all areas of life. Ethical reasoning isn't just about the classroom, it's about preparing students to be responsible, thoughtful citizens. These are the transportable skills that will guide them throughout their lives, whether they go further in education, they go to the workplace, or serve their communities. And I just want to thank you guys for supporting this essential part of our students' development, supporting Sharon and I in our fancy trip, I felt like, out to California. And together we can continue to nurture future leaders who approach decisions with care, respect, and integrity.
And with that being said, all of our notes and everything are in a toolbox that we've shared out with the computer science teachers. We have it available for anyone who teaches PLTW or whatever. And you guys are more than welcome to see it too.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance.
Thank you for sharing.
Also this evening, I want to give a shout out to Neil and Summers Mortuary, who shared approximately $800 worth of winter coats and supplies to distribute to students in the MSD of Martinsville. Thank you again to Neil and Summers Mortuary for your generosity and for your kindness. Community partnership, another community partnership is with our family pantry. And this month I want to talk about the family pantry and let you know what's happening there. Martinsville schools still partner with Gleaners to facilitate a monthly family pantry, which provides us a great opportunity to serve our students and families. A variety of items are available every month for any student or any family in the MSD of Martinsville. Resources such as cereals, canned soups, canned vegetables, meats, pastas, peanut butter, condiments, frozen foods, drinks, breads, produce, toilet paper, detergents, and toiletries are dispersed every month. The pantry is facilitated once per month on the second Thursday from August through May. The next date, in case you're wanting to write that down, is Thursday, February 13th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at John R. Wooden Middle School. Upcoming events here in the district that have to do with our students and our student programming. We have a We Love Kindergarten kickoff from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Martinsville High School Fieldhouse on February 13th. We have a district mock robotics competition from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Fieldhouse on February 22nd. We have a district literacy night that we're organizing, facilitating here at CEC for grades K through 6 from 5 to 7 on March 5th. State chess championship at Martinsville High School in the Fieldhouse on March 22nd. Popsicles for pre-K. Enrollment fair is at CEC from 5 to 7 on April 2nd. And our state math bowl competition is at Bell Intermediate Academy at 5:30 p.m. on April 15th. And then we end the year with another celebration for our class of 2025. Graduation is on May 23rd. Those are district big events, and we'll be sharing more events as we move along throughout the year. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending this evening.
If you want to put a smile on your face, come to the kindergarten showcase. They are unbelievable to watch. They have so much energy. And then we see them graduate in 13 years. That's always a cool thing. Okay, the next thing we have for the report, the board had in your packet, and we have for public notice, the funding floor notification from the Department of Education. Every district that has a situation where the year before they spent more money than they did the following year, which this last year we didn't spend as much as we did the year before, we have to notify the public and let them know that we didn't spend as much. So it's one of those things that can occur whenever you are not replacing staff as much. Like we ended up not having as many staff members replaced this year at the high school and the middle school. So you don't spend as much on salaries as you did the year before. So it's a notification that we have to put out. So that's what's on there. Does any of the board members have a question or anything for me? Okay, there's no action to be taken on it. We just have to publicly let everybody know that. So thank you.
All right, and next, old business. Do we have any?
Do not have any old business.
Okay. We will move on to the action items then. So, Mr. Boland?
Okay, we need to appoint a legislative ISBA representative. Do you have a recommendation for us?
We have a nomination for the ISBA representative.
I'll nominate Dan Conway.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right. He was it last year. He'll do it again.
Now we're
Thank you.
support.
All right. And all in favor
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed. All right. Dan, you're it.
The next one, we have to appoint a Martinsville Redevelopment Commission representative. I think Mr. Jackson has served it the last couple years. I don't know if you're going to ask him to serve again or if you're going to get somebody else.
Matt, you're
You don't-
retired.
You don't, you don't work anymore. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. So-
Yes, I could.
You can.
Think, are you adamant? You want to do it?
All right.
Okay.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to nominate Luke Jackson.
All right,
I'll second that.
all right. And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson.
I'm kind of enjoying watching this dynamic at play. That's pretty good.
It's kind of nice not having to do it.
The next item, number 3 on the action items, is authorization to sign for alternative placement. We've always done, the board as representatives continue that, okay? So we update with the new board positions. This is for public information. If we have special needs students that have to be placed somewhere else, they contact us, the placement's being done, and instead of having to go and sign each one, you get approval set ahead of time, so we do it by your positions. So I recommend that we authorize based on your current board positions.
All right. Do I have any discussion? Or a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the authorization to sign for alternative placement.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, motion carries.
Action item number 4, request cancellation of outstanding checks. We make 2 contacts with the individuals, and one of them is with certified mail. Recommend approval of the cancellation of these checks.
All right, and any discussion? And a motion?
I'll make a motion for the request cancellation of outstanding checks.
I'll second that, Heather.
All right, thank you. And all in favor signify by stating aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is permission to apply for the flexibility waiver, our Well Wednesday. It's not the plan, it's just to apply like we've done the last, 3 years, 4 years now, Susie?
This will be our fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
Wow.
So recommend approval for the application to proceed.
okay. Any discussion?
No, I just want to reiterate what Mr. Rowland just said. It's just the permission to apply. It's not saying that we're even going to get approved for it.
Right, yes.
Just for the public.
We can't do it
So,
unless there's an approval
Right.
first, so. okay.
So I'll make the motion, Heather,
Okay.
to allow permission to apply for the flexibility waiver.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is the action item with the electric buses, going to what Mr. Murray brought up some good points. It's one of the things that the board has entertained. So for public consumption, Curlin Buses has a history of a great track record. No blow-ups, no explosions, nothing of that nature. It's not like the car market. If you recall, historically, whenever the Biden administration started with the Inflation Reduction Act, the so-called, I would put the quotation marks around, one of the big things was going down the path with electric vehicles, chargers, all kinds of things, right? And whenever they started doing some stuff with buses, there were companies from all over the world trying to get into that market. There were some companies that were already in the market that were doing stuff, but there were people trying to do money grabs. And that became quite interesting to watch. And you've seen some of those failures across the globe and across the United States. Curlin has a very, very good history in theirs. They have a track record. They do not have these type of issues. The board, we had the presentation and went through questions about do they explode? We hear that they don't work in the cold. Their buses run in Alaska. It gets pretty cold in Alaska. We talked about the floods that occurred, and we heard about electric cars and stuff catching on fire in North Carolina and stuff like that. No issues of this type with these type of batteries that they use and everything. And I think we all felt really comfortable with their track record and what they were doing and the cost savings that it will provide. Not just, now I will tell you, it's a bigger investment as far as it's like buying a house and they're saying, okay, you can buy $1 million house, but you're only going to have to pay $200,000. But at the end of the day, what are you in possession of? 100,000 or a million? Did I say 100,000?
Yeah, something
I
like that.
really messed that up. $1 million house and you're only paying a couple 100,000 because there is somebody paying 800,000. It's a situation where at the end of the day, you own a property that's worth $1 million. Your investment was only 200,000. Good investment in that sense. It's also compared to what the diesel is. It's a savings because we're replacing 4 buses. We already got that with the replacement plan. It's going to save us money in the long run, not just for operations, but for the cost, the initial upfront cost for us. So for the district, this is a win-win in that. And we've got some routes that we think that they will work very well on. And it'll be something that obviously electric is not going away. Elon Musk is not going away. Tesla is not going away, that type of thing. So I think it's a good investment for us moving forward. It's putting our foot in the water, not our toes, but getting 4 buses is a good investment. And I think it's something that we can do that will demonstrate that this is something that would save us money and make us more efficient as we move forward. So I do recommend approval of the 4 buses.
Yeah. And there's a school district to our south.
Yes.
That is moving full electric, is that right?
Yes.
They're-
Well, as far as they
far-
can,
As
right?
far as they can. So they've had these buses
Yes.
for how many years?
A couple of years.
A couple years, no issues. So all of these questions were asked, so I appreciate that. But yeah, they were all looked into and taken very seriously. Yes, so I do appreciate that, though.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
You know, that's
Yes.
the same
So-
questions we had was,
I
okay,
know.
we hear that they catch on fire. We
Yeah.
hear that they don't work in the cold. We hear that, you know, there are different things that we've heard about and read about. We hear that chargers aren't worth anything, right? So we looked and did our
Yeah.
due diligence
Yes.
on that. Luke, you
Yeah,
wanted
and
to say something?
a couple of those points, same thoughts we had, you know, and one of them that I didn't realize, the battery has a warranty with it, because I had always heard, you know, electric vehicles great, but then the battery goes bad, and you're, you know, buying a whole new everything. It's not worth it. But come to find out, I believe it was an 8-year
8 year.
warranty with the battery. So that, and just to find out, as Mr. Boland mentioned, you know, the buses are on their own safety regulation, much more strict regulation than electric vehicles or transit vehicles. But for the school buses, that was reassuring to hear that.
When we talked extensively about the batteries, they're encased in titanium and the way that they're built, and if, you know, one cell goes out and different things, Mr. Murray, so I do appreciate your comments and safety concerns, because that's always our number one priority. So we did ask a lot of questions. It was quite lengthy, you know, discussion that we had. So appreciate you bringing all your questions to us.
Yeah, and I think the Thomas brand it's well known. We looked at, like they said, quite a few different options, the warranty for an 8-year warranty. You look at the costs, they're not for every route, and we know that. So when you look at 4 buses in the 80+ buses that we have, I think it's a way to get into it, reasonable to assess it and study it. And if it's not good, then we've got 4 buses that we got a pretty good deal on as far as the rebate and the tax credit for it. So if it's not what we think it'll be, then obviously we wouldn't go down that direction long term.
And I mentioned Curlin is the sales portion. They are Thomas buses. I appreciate Mr. Conway pointing that out. And if you Google them, they have a long history, very successful history in the bus world.
Made in the USA.
Made in
Yes,
the USA,
made in the
100% made in the USA, which, that was a question we posed.
Yeah, kind of neat.
It was, and we did talk about some other safety features, you know, things like the bus would automatically stop, you know, when there's no pressure on the accelerator and things like that, things that the diesel buses don't have right now, so, and maybe never have. And speaking of the weather next week, I don't know that any of the buses are going to start in that kind of weather, Mr. Murray, but I don't even know if my car is going to start in that weather, but yeah, I do appreciate your concern for sure.
Very much so. All right, so we've had some discussion. Is there any more? Or do I have a motion?
I will make a motion
Okay.
that we, for permission to purchase the electric buses.
All right, thank you, Matt. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Heather.
All right, thank you. So all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And motion carries.
Okay, the next one is agenda item number 7, Project Lead the Way STEM Grant in the amount of $45,000. These funds are used to support our high-quality STEM programming across the district. I recommend approval of this grant.
So do I have any discussion on the STEM grant? And if not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the Project Lead the Way STEM grant.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. So all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And
I think we've
opposed?
heard this evening what the benefits,
Yes.
where that money
Perfect-
goes.
Perfect
and
timing.
hard work
Opposed?
these ladies put in.
All right, motion carries.
I'd also like to say or mention with that grant, it was a competitive grant, and Sharon Gooden and Shannon Adams both wrote that grant, and it will be directly used for grades K through 6. So congratulations, that's awesome.
Very good.
Thank you.
And not to put you on the spot, but have you guys received $500,000 in grants? Do you know right off the top of your head? Is that? I think that, yeah, I think it's quite substantial. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is quite substantial, which is just phenomenal for our kids. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. No, thank you.
You-
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I started it.
When you watch a first grader get excited about light refraction, it's like, okay, I didn't know refraction as a word in the first grade. And they're talking about all this stuff. That's really, really neat to
It's
see.
neat stuff.
I'm gonna say one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I went to Green Township yesterday and, one of the students said, Mrs. Gooden, we went out here for energy, but you didn't talk about this type of energy. I'm like, you're correct, because this is why we do this. So you learn more and you learn more. I'm so excited. You did all of this, but you didn't know this stuff. You're great. That's it. So it is, I love the excitement that kids get.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
thank you.
very neat. All right.
Okay, the next, we have 3 donations, so I'll read them off individually, vote as a group. Donation from the American Legion, Unit 230 to the Martinsville High School Wrestling Team for $500. Donation from Advantage Manufacturing to Artie's Cafe for $2,500. And we actually have a donation correction, which is from American Legion to the John R. Wooden Choir. Last board meeting, we approved $1,200. They brought a check in and it was for $2,450. They made a mistake, to our advantage, and we recommend approval of that one too. So very, very generous as always. So I recommend approval of these 3 donations.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 3 donations.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. So all in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And opposed. All right, they are all accepted. Okay, Courtney, do we have any public comments? Okay. Okay, all right. Welcome.
Good evening. Again, my name is Mark Murray. I'm actually talking on the Saturday. We are hosting our first IHS CGA Winter Color Guard preview show. This is the school's way to get their foot in the door to possibly host future competitions, possible band competitions, indoor percussion competitions, stuff like that. We got everything set up as far as I think most of the volunteer stuff is covered for the weekend. Thank you to everybody out there that will is doing that. We've done a good job setting up. We'll be setting up tomorrow evening and finishing up Saturday morning for that. There's been a few teams dropped out that was supposed to come. Don't know what the circumstances are. Hopefully all those teams are well and do well this season. But I wanted to invite anybody to make sure they come out, support the kids from all those schools and everything. It's a good way that they're not getting judged this time. It's a kind of a way to let them kind of do their performance in front of a crowd without being judged and having a rating. The coaches will get feedbacks on how they did. It's a good way. It's also it's $5 at the door for adults. I can't remember the exact pricing for kids and stuff, and I think 3 and under is free. But it's a good way to help raise some money also for because all the door money is going to the band and everything. So that will go towards I think some of the Disney trip that's coming up and possibly and some of the other things that the band will be spending money on here in the near future. But hopefully this goes well. Hopefully we get our foot in the door to do a competition. We got a few hiccups here and there already, and hopefully we get through any more that come up. Thank you.
Mr. Murray, aren't there over 20 teams?
There was 24 teams coming, and so I had New Orleans and then 2 so we're down right at 19-20 teams.
That's very good.
And
for the
then
first time.
ours, our JV and our varsity.
All right. And what time does it start?
It's starting right around noon now.
Okay, at noon. Okay, thank you.
Maybe a little bit before that.
Okay, okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Yep, thank you. Okay, and superintendent comment.
We decided to cut these out
Oh.
this year, yeah. We didn't tell you that.
Different 2025.
2025 is a new
Yeah.
year. Okay.
50 words or less.
That sounds like a game show. 8th grade orientation's taking place right now as we speak, so I'm excited to hear how that went at the high school. Remember, no school on Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Kindergarten enrollment, Mrs. Lips already addressed. We have the Paxton Patterson Showcase. I want to tell the board, put it on your calendar. It's going to take place on February 25th at 11 a.m. Okay, at John R. Wooden Middle School. And as Ms. Gooden said, it's a phenomenal program. Mr. Jackson, I know, has been there. If any of you get a chance to go by, you can go by and see the classes at work, but they're going to have a great showcase. And superintendents from around the region being invited. We'll be hosting that and looking forward to that. I think it's going to be great. Last thing, weather-wise, here we are. We heard somebody mention about cold and vehicles starting. Tuesday, it's supposed to be bitterly cold. So pay attention. Obviously, if we see that, and we have a chart so that the public knows that we use in districts around Indiana, whenever somebody's at a wind chill factor where they'll get frostbite in 30 minutes of exposure, that's the threshold, and that depends on the cold and the wind. So it has a wind chill rating. So we utilize that. Tuesday, it depends on how it plays out and how cold it gets. There are wind gusts that are projected at 15 miles per hour. That makes it very hazardous for kids. So that's when we get it to that threshold of 2-hour delays. Just so people know, we don't just get up and put our, lick our finger and put our hand outside and say, okay, 2-hour delay this morning. We use scientific data with the National Weather Service, and BAM is our meteorologist that we hire. They do a great job. They've been spot on for 2 years for us, spot on. These recent colds, if you noticed on Friday of last week, we, went e-learning. And I will confess that at 11 o'clock, whenever no snow had hit yet, I was a little bit worried about making a bad choice. But then shortly thereafter, it hit pretty hard. So we had great participation with our synchronous learning. Our staff did a fantastic job with the kids. The kids did a fantastic job participating. We had very high participation rates. One building told us that they had a higher participation rate than they have whenever they have in-person learning. So we had very great success. For us as a district, we're really proud that we had practiced it. We were ready for it. We had some parents' feedback that said, I didn't know what to do, but my child did. So that's a great thing. The kids were advocating for themselves. They were participating. Staff did a phenomenal job. So the synchronous learning payoff was big for us. I wanted to share that with the board and the community here. Tomorrow we'll be paying attention as well. We have a patchy freezing fog alert. For us, we're in the patchy zone. If we were in the high zone, that would possibly be a situation where we would weigh a delay. So pay attention to the weather, pay attention to us. We would make a call in the morning at 5:30 if we had any type of delay. So that's come across here in the last 2 hours. Nothing
Right.
changes at all with the weather in Indiana at all. Okay, that's all I
Right,
have,
all right.
group.
Thank you, Mr. Boland.
Except I will say, first daughter, congratulations
Thank you.
to Presley.
Thank you.
I think we ought to highlight that.
Thank you.
She received a Distinguished Hoosier Award from Governor Holcomb. That is a phenomenal recognition. Unbelievable. So
Thank you.
I wanted to
Thank you.
say the first daughter, who's what we will call her from now on, no more Princess Presley. She's first daughter since Madam President is here. I just wanted to congratulate you and Kip.
Thank you.
And Presley, that's
Thank
an
you.
outstanding honor.
I will share that. She usually watches these, so she'll hear you also.
Well, that's great.
And she's the sweetest individual.
well,
I know.
yeah.
She is.
Well,
so
I
she
shared
deserves that.
with Eric earlier that I had to like twist her arm to let Mr. Bell post that because she is very humble and she didn't really want, she's like, it's not that big a deal. Like, Presley, it is. Let
Just
us
the governor. I
Yes,
mean,
please
yeah.
let us recognize you. So we are very proud of her. So thank you.
You should be.
Thank you very much. All right. Do I have any board member comments, items for a future agenda, or anything you'd just like to share for the good of the district?
Just like to thank everyone for coming this evening, whether you're here in person or virtually. It's always great to have public participation. So we'd love to fill this room up every board meeting. So with this new year starting,
Yes.
come and join us.
Yes.
Third Thursday of every month.
It's a good time.
Good time.
It's a good time. I will share if nobody else has anything. Most of us participated in the Habitat for Humanity celebration last weekend in one way or another. And I thought it seemed quite fitting with the passing of President Carter, since he was such a huge advocate for the habitat. And I think that we need to give a special thank you to Ann McGowan. So she's always here touting, talking about the habitat heroes and the kids and the schools and the community. And none of that would be possible without her vision. So, and her passion for our community and kids. She truly has a servant's heart, and she is so appreciated. So I just
She's
wanted
the
to-
ultimate
Yes, she really is.
habitat hero.
She really is. And so I just want to thank you to Ann. If she's out there listening, thank you, Ann.
She is,
She
and
is
the
phenomenal.
Family's so appreciative.
Yes,
They're so,
yes.
I mean, just over the moon.
Yeah.
And I did have the
Mhm.
privilege of
Mhm.
going to their open house on Saturday. I didn't make it to the banquet, but I
Mhm.
did make it to the open house, and phenomenal house, beautiful.
Mhm.
The kids and everyone just did a great job, and talked to Raleigh Hammonds, who helped them lay the floor and
Okay.
everything. This is the biggest job they've done, and he does a phenomenal job too, and he just couldn't praise the kids enough. So
Okay.
it was just great, but more so just seeing Brittany and Jesse, and just so happy that their kids have this home, and it is a home, it's not a house anymore, it's a home for them. So
yeah.
so they made that clear on Saturday. So
Yeah.
just so happy for
Very
the
sweet.
family and the kids. So it was great.
Yep, it's a good weekend. So with that being said, do I have a?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Luke
second.
Jackson. All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming.
The guy with nothing to do down there seconded real quick.